Welcome to the Quiet PC video with myself, Andy Ford. In today's video I'm going to show you how to choose a CPU cooler. We stock a large range of coolers, so how do you know which one is going to be suitable for your particular system? Well, let's find out.
There's only one place to be for a new PC. quietpc.com.
So the very first thing we need to know is exactly which CPU model you have, and also the wattage so that we know how much heat it generates. This is known as the TDP. The reason this is important is because if you have a hot running CPU, then we need to get a cooler that's going to be both capable of keeping it cool and quiet in operation. And if we simply choose a small cheap CPU cooler, that's clearly going to be inadequate and have no benefit whatsoever. Similarly, using a large cooler on, say, a low watt 35 watt processor is going to be a complete overkill and quite probably a waste of money too. Now I'm going to demonstrate on my PC how to find the wattage using a free utility called CPU-Z. This will also help us determine which socket the motherboard uses, because this is also important as any replacement CPU cooler will need to be compatible with that socket. And I'm going to explain that now as I download and run CPU-Z so I can show you how to find both your CPU make and model and also the socket type. So the first thing we need to do is go to the website where we can download CPU-Z. So if you open your browser and type in www.cpuid.com, and there you can see CPU-Z. Now we need to download that for Windows. On this page we need to scroll down a bit, and we're going to download the setup in English. Just click download now. Okay, so we're going to save that, and you can save that to either your downloads folder or to your desktop. Once that downloads, you can open that up and you can start the installation, but I'm going to skip that for now. Let's move ahead a few minutes. Well, as you can see, it's now created a desktop icon, and it's this we need to open to see what we have. Okay, there it is. That's the main screen in CPU-Z. So on there you've got the name of the processor, and this is quite an old one. It's a Core i5 2500K. And as you can see, the max TDP or the wattage is 95 watts. Here in the package you can also see the socket type, and in this case it's 1155. Now if you want to send this information to us so we can make a recommendation, just click on the About tab, and if you look in the bottom of there you can see there's a button that says Save Report.html. And this will basically save all the information about your system into an HTML file, which is basically a web page that you can open up and take a look at. So let's just go ahead and do that right now. So I'm just going to tell it where to save it. In this case, it's on the desktop. So if we click on the file that's just been created, we can see there's all the information in there that we need. Now this can be attached if required to an email, and that can be sent to ourselves in our technical department, and we can take a look at that for you and make some recommendations. Now, generally speaking, the size of a cooler is an indication of how much heat it can dissipate. The bigger the cooler, the more heat you can remove from the processor, and the TDP figures are usually listed on our website in the cooler specifications. Now, the second thing we need to know is how much space you have between the top of the CPU and the side or lid of the case. This will ensure that we choose a cooler that's not going to be too tall. After all, you want to be able to replace the side or top panel once the cooler is fitted. Finally, you need a rough idea of the space you have around the processor so you don't order a cooler that's too bulky and that might not fit because of surrounding components or other obstructions. Once you roughly know how much space you have, then we can rule out coolers that are either too tall or those that may snag other components in the system when you're trying to fit them. Of course, if this all sounds a bit complicated, then you can always contact our technical support via email and we can recommend a cooler for you. So in order to do that, we would need to know the following. The first thing we need is the information about your PC's hardware gathered from the CPU-Z as an HTML file, which should be attached to the email. Secondly, we need to know how much room you have between the top of the processor and the side or lid of the case. Now, third and finally, we need a clear photo showing the inside of the system so that we can gauge roughly how much space you have for a replacement cooler. We can then take a look at that information and get back to you with a few suggestions. Well, that's it. We hope you found this video helpful, and if you do, please leave a thumbs up below. That's it for now, so thanks for watching, stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video.